Okay, guys, some time has passed and it's time to talk full spoilers for the second season of Jurassic World Chaos Theory. If you haven't watched the second season yet, then please click off the video. I don't want to spoil anything for you and do want you to get to experience it yourself. But if you have seen it and you want more discussion, you want more reflection, then now is the time for it. So the first thing I wanted to touch on is Brooklyn's story throughout the second season. I love how we see a darker Brooklyn in this season, leveraging connections with both the DPW and Dinosaur Liberation Now to get closer to the mysterious broker. We see a darker, more mature version of this character, and her story gives us a real insight into just how dinosaurs have become the global phenomenon they are after the Lockwood Manor incident. I love how her story feels interconnected with the broader universe and think it's used to paint a really interesting picture of exactly what is going on in the post-Fallen Kingdom world. A big reveal in the second season is that Ghost is the animal responsible for taking Brooklyn's hand, finally confirming for us that it was the Atrociraptors that attacked her, not the Allosaurus. A flashback to the handler and time spent with both Ronnie and Jensen from season 1 helps to really ground this story in the DPW's corruption, leading to an ultimate resolution where we discover that the DPW has been dissolved after the events of season 1. That explains why it's US Fish and Wildlife Service agents dealing with the dinosaurs by the time of Jurassic World Dominion. I can't talk about Brooklyn without talking about the other campers, and it's fair to say that each of them gets some really, really good story beats in the second season. Kenji gets some good development, dealing with the grief of his father's loss in a way which puts him in some really quite dangerous situations. Ben juggles with knowing that Brooklyn is still alive, and Yaz has to use the emotion that she's garnered from her own personal experiences to really try and empathize with her friends, at points getting put in the middle of conflict between them. I particularly loved how Yaz here feels sort of like the most empathetic character because I think it's a real testament to the emotional storytelling that's been done with her throughout the season. Now, there's also plenty of new characters throughout this season. We get Zaina and her mother, Aminata, and in my opinion, they were both phenomenal additions. I love how we get a flavour for culture in Senegal through these characters, and also that we get to see normal, everyday people adapting to the idea of everyday life with dinosaurs. When I thought about stories set after Fallen Kingdom, this is exactly the kind of thing I wanted. This show really does a phenomenal job of capturing that and communicating it in a meaningful way in the second season. And I can't touch on Zaina and Aminata without referencing Geba. Geba is love, Geba is life. It's time to talk about it. Daishan Lachman returns as Soyana Santos, or the broker, and this made me so happy. Daishan's performance is phenomenal. She captures a cold and calculating character who feels truly sinister. I love that Soyana is connected to dinosaurs through her mother. We discover that her mother was at the dig in Mongolia where a Protoceratops was uncovered fighting a Velociraptor, and this is a real-world paleo dig that was uncovered, so it's really cool to see it referenced. It makes the dinosaurs feel rooted in the history of Soyana as a character, and I really, really love that detail. My written review goes much more in depth on my thoughts on Soyana, but it's needless to say I was absolutely delighted to have her in this season. And she also comes into the show alongside another human antagonist, Dr. Sarr. I love how Sarr felt like a darker version of Henry Wu, with hubris that can only match the aforementioned character. Sarr sees his work as art, not science, and this leads to the creation of the Leucoustic Baryonyx, one of the coolest genetically modified animals we have seen in Jurassic for some time. I love how this animal is blind, so it uses other senses to kind of understand its environment and chase the campers, because that's a really cool way of expanding on concepts we've seen with the Indoraptor and with other characters throughout the season. I actually was absolutely on the edge of my seat when this Baryonyx was revealed. The white colour calling back to the Indominus Rex and the lack of eye sockets is just pretty grim in a sense. This kind of felt very horror-esque to me, so I really enjoyed it. So that's kind of in a nutshell the sort of key points of the season I wanted to touch on. There's so many areas that I would love to expand on further, but I think we're going to leave that to discussion online, right? You guys are getting to experience it, so all of us talking together is what it's really about. But I did want to look ahead to the future briefly. In season two, we learn that the facility in Senegal is one of numerous facilities that Soyana Santos has. So there's more out there. And that gets me really excited when I think about the future possibilities for Jurassic storytelling. We also get a reveal at the end of the season that Soyana is finally linking up with Biosyn. So I suspect that we're on track to discover what happened between Soyana and Dodgson in the reference conversation where Dodgson says he didn't like what happened last time in Jurassic World Dominion. I really hope that we get a solid connection here. I don't know that we'll necessarily see Biosyn Valley itself, but I'd really love to see some of the animals from it. The Quetzalcoatlus, the Pyroraptor, those kinds of animals making the jump to the smaller screen would be awesome. From genetic experimentation that is firmly grounded in Jurassic storytelling, all the way through to expansive world building, which sets up interesting stories, season two of Chaos Theory gave us so much of what I personally wanted, and it really became a truly worldwide affair. I had so much fun with this season and the possibilities that it sets in motion, and I genuinely cannot wait to see what comes in a third season of the show, as I would imagine we'll be getting one very soon. Make sure to check out all of the coverage we've produced on the Jurassic Park podcast. We have a very cool spoiler deep dive interview with Scott Kramer that you will not want to miss. And until the next time, take care and have a good week.